here on YouTube. I'm not going live on YouTube often. I think this is my second or maybe third time, so forgive me if I'm going to experience any technical difficulties. I hope everyone is doing amazingly well. And today I am coming to you with a beautiful, important and very much life-changing change that you can implement into your life from Yeshua about obedience to God and the prayer. But before we're gonna go deeper into that topic, I just wanted to quickly let you know that first of all, the Facebook group and the Facebook account is no longer active. This is a decision that I made following the guidance from Yeshua. I will be focusing on different social media that are more responsive and where we believe more influence we can make through posting videos and messages for others. And additionally, there is going to be, or there is already a new channel that I created here on YouTube called The Temple. So basically, the group The Temple that was available on Facebook is now available here on YouTube, and I am going to share the link to that different channel in the description comments. And this group, this new channel, is dedicated to women, but not only to women, of course, and it will be it will mainly involve teachings about the embodiment of the truest, most authentic frequency, vibration, and the template of the divine feminine. There will be some channelings from divine feminine ascendant masters as well, and anything else that may be related to embodying and stepping fully, and as I said, authentically on that path, onto that path. Definitely some work with the womb, sacred womb space as well. So if you are a woman interested in fully and on authentically stepping onto the path of the divine feminine, and also if you are, for example, on a twin flame path, you can definitely subscribe to that new YouTube channel that, as I said, I will share with you in the comments. Sorry, something just flew into my room. There you go. Hope you'll find a way out. So today, very authentically, I would like to share with you the message of obedience to God and the daily prayer to God that can bring so much change, so much goodness into your life. And I'm gonna say something that I mentioned in one of the previous broadcasts, that I myself became very, very interested with all the topics of manifestation and the new age and the new earth topics. I think that it's all very fascinating that we received access to such a profound knowledge, but in the same time, I think what has happened through this knowledge, another strain, another very long and deep strain of ego has been grown within the collective, and this is the spiritual ego, where people literally are starting to proclaim themselves as the God creator, and they are forgetting that actually no, there is this higher power that we are still one with, and we should cultivate and working on having a proper and deep and beautiful and honest relationship with God, instead of making ourselves, God's manifestors and only focusing on the law of attraction and what else material can we bring into our life. I think that many of us completely forgot that this is about actually deepening our connection to our own divinity. Hello, beautiful people. And it's not about becoming the master manifestor of the physical things, because that feeds only the ego. Again, I am not saying that material things, material possessions, or this physical life is not important. We are definitely here for a very important reason. But looking around, I see that people are mainly focusing on building businesses and creating missions in life that are evolving strictly around becoming master manifestors. That was a big wake-up call for me, even though I never was any manifesting coach. Everything what I was teaching in my schools was coming from my own personal experience, but I also had to receive this wake-up call from Yeshua that I was already channeling and I was working with for a while, that this ascension, this awakening process that is happening collectively is not about becoming the master manifestor. It is actually about deepening the oneness and the unity with the God Creator Himself. And for that to happen, we need to really awaken and find some humility and humble ourselves, and actually bring ourselves to a position where we are stripping ourselves of any material possessions, or from focusing on any kind of material gain, because this is all an illusion that we are dreaming, and focusing solely on the spirit, on awakening our spirit, because it is the spirit that knows the true soul essence of who we really are. Okay, so when I asked Yeshua this morning what he would like me to speak to you about today, he gave me the word obedience. And I know he gave me this word because I realized that I wasn't very obedient. Even though I thought that I was doing a lot of spiritual work, I was sharing a lot of his messages. I was often referring to his teachings. In my personal life, I wasn't very obedient, and that led me to miscreating my reality and creating actually a lot of pain and heartache. And um, and when I awakened that I am having an insufficient obedience in my life, and I decided to, okay, I'm gonna sit and listen. And when he started to lead me, what started to change in my life is this. First of all, when you are making that choice, that okay, I had my time, i i I practiced, experimented with all those laws of attractions. I experimented with all those of all this beautiful sacred knowledge that was given back to us. But I felt that there's still not 100% of something that I was truly searching for, and that was the relationship to God. Now, if the key to having a beautiful and profound and deep relationship to God is the obedience, one of the component is the obedience, then today I am choosing to be obedient to God. Now, I may be a very wise woman, I may be a very, very intelligent human being, but still I am choosing to listen to the guidance and to the nudges from the divine and from Yeshua, to start making the choices that are of their will, of God's will, not my will. And see, a lot of people will actually feel, our ego may actually feel a little bit triggered, because we are very wise human beings, we are very wise women and men, but in the moment of obedience we need to actually start surrendering absolutely everything we know, and actually bring ourselves to this position of being so humble and so in such a deep humility, that we choose to say, I know nothing, and I am choosing for God's will to be my will. Okay, and you're not gonna lose anything if your ego is making you feel like, I don't need anyone to make my choices, make my decisions. This is just the ego. Underneath this, there will be some kind of fear. If you think deeper, if you feel into that deeper, there will be some kind of fear that the ego is opposing. So ask yourself whether you are ready to step into this full obedience, into this full surrender. And if you are, you just need to acknowledge that you simply know nothing, and everything that you desired and wanted to do in your life up until now, you are putting aside, and you are choosing to listen. You will have definitely very quickly one very, very prominent change that you will experience in your life, and that change will be the peace. The peace of mind and feeling safe was something that I was struggling with a lot in my life since the childhood, and I thought that I am going to gain this safety I thought that I'm gonna make myself feel safe if I'm gonna gain more knowledge. And knowledge is beautiful. I love wisdom, I love knowledge, and I think knowledge is a beautiful gift, but only in this full obedience and the surrender, where the knowledge itself is being actually utilized not by the physical mind, but is given back to the higher power, so it can be now used in our life accordingly to the higher power's will. It doesn't mean that we are rejecting the knowledge, it's simply now the knowledge is being used accordingly to God's will in our life, which you will gain in the very first day when you will choose to become obedient, is a complete peace of mind. It is a complete peace and safety. And if you've been longing for it for a very long time, at the beginning it will feel a little bit unstable, or even a lot unstable, because the ego that was potentially controlling your life and making all of those decisions just to keep you safe will be opposing to what God wants you to do, to what God is leading you to do, in order to actually release all those fears and fully anchor yourself into that lower chakras, into that root chakra, where you will feel truly safe with with God's presence. And I'm gonna read all the comments after the live. Forgive me, I can't really see very clearly those little letters because I'm streaming from my mobile. So with this obedience, the first gain that you will get is like this massive release, and feeling safe, and feeling more at peace. And you will actually start to feel, you will feel God's presence within you and all around you. You will tap into the frequency of God. You will feel this oneness. I guarantee you that you will feel this oneness. You will feel this beautiful, gentle love, and you will definitely start to reconnect and tap into those truest essence, this truest essence of yourself. And now this is something beautiful that Yeshua, Jesus, was speaking about in his times over those 2000 years ago, that we are just like him, that he came as a Christ, embodiment of the Christ consciousness, but we are all having the capability of tapping into that consciousness ourselves. So in this state of pure obedience and pure surrender, when you are releasing the control and you are surrendering your free will, you are actually starting to tap into that goodness, into that softness, and into that strength of Christ within you. And you will be able to feel that very quickly, which instantaneously honestly transforms and shifts all the whole perception you had about yourself, about others, about the world. It will make you feel very naturally in union with the world. It will make you feel very compassionate, very naturally again, towards others, towards yourself. I don't know what's the trick here, but honestly, when you are in this full surrender and obedience, it's like you are instantaneously and miraculously in one shift, gentle shift, you are merging with this beautiful essence, the truest essence of yourself, which is the Christ within you. And with this shift comes another advantage, because we do not realize that when we are going through the day, or we are going through our life in general, our thoughts and the thoughts of other people who we are all connected with, we generated a lot of negative thinking, and therefore we have generated a lot of negative energies, thought forms, literally thought forms. Some people will call it external demonic energies and so on. And these energies can truly affect our mental state. They can affect the way we are creating or miscreating our reality. And they can definitely, in a very negative way, affect our whole life and connections to others, connection to God. Now, when you are choosing to become obedient to God, what it does, it works like a very, it works like an elixir, literally like an elixir and like a cure to wash away all those negative energies or beings, or however you're going to call it, away, because they absolutely do this dislike, if not hate, and they feel very triggered when you are becoming fully obedient to God, not to their desires. When you have spirit attached to your field, to your quantum field, to your energetic field, what they are often doing, they are manipulating your thoughts, just so they can gain whatever they want to gain through you, through your energy, okay, through your life force energy. That's how a lot of people are becoming addicted. That's how we are also creating compulsive behaviors that are not good, they are not healthy for us. And suddenly, when you are becoming obedient, when you are making that choice, again, very naturally, it will become very natural for you to start making simply different choices. And if, for example, before you've been trying to fight and you put yourself in a state of conflict with addiction, with compulsive negative behaviors, that's actually also something that this negative entity wants from you. But when you are putting yourself in an alignment with God and God's will and the obedience to God, very naturally it comes to you that you are simply making different choices, and you are, first of all, no longer putting yourself in a conflict with any external energies. You are honoring your life force, and you are utilizing your life force energy onto what truly matters, onto how Yeshua says, uh, utilize and use your life force energy on things that are meaningful, not the things that are meaningless. And every conflict, Yeshua says, hello Rob, every conflict Yeshua is teaching us is simply meaningless. It's an illusion. We are fighting with some form of illusion. So in this obedience to God, you are finding yourself in this very strong and an empowered position that actually very easily you are starting to make different choices instead of addiction to any substance, or, as I said, compulsive negative behaviors, codependent behaviors. Codependency, actually, in its all totality, you are starting to make different choices. You are no longer feeling that you need to depend on anything or anyone, because you are becoming whole with God. So this is the second gain. It will miraculously cure you of any, energetic attachments. Recently, I've been working a lot on clearing people's auric fields, on clearing people from all different kind of attachments, implants, and things like that. I received the authority of the word to cast those entities away from people, which I felt very privileged with. But I can tell you from my own experience and from what Yeshua is teaching, that your obedience to God after this kind of cleansing, or even without it, will keep you very sterile to any negative energies or influences of any negative energies. It will keep you truly protected. I was struggling a lot with smoking, and when I was struggling to let go of smoking, Yeshua said that as long as I am holding on to that attachment, he cannot shield me. He says, as long as you are giving your free will choice to those attachments, I can't shield you, because that comes through your choice. Still, that comes through your choice. The moment you choose to be obedient to God, the moment you are choosing to choose differently, that's when I can shield you. That's when I can step in, and He, as the King of the space and time, He can perform miracles, and He can shift our all kind of different circumstances that we can find ourselves in our life instantaneously. But we need to start choosing differently. So again, if you've been, for example, struggling with making the good choices, the right choices for you, for your family, for your life, it is possible that you are being manipulated, that your mental space is being manipulated by some other forms of energies. Obedience to God will definitely help you to wash that away and strengthen your core, and become very strong and empowered when it comes to making those choices. So definitely something that I can recommend to you. And thirdly, thirdly, what you will actually start experiencing when you become obedient to God, you will start to experience an immense feeling of freedom. You will start to finally tap into that childlike innocence within you. You will understand on a very deep level that all this time this innocence and this freedom was available to you, but because of the control that the ego wanted to hold on to, you've been choosing to make your own mind's choices that were miscreating your life, your reality, and putting you in a very unfortunate positions very often and circumstances. So this feeling of I wouldn't call it nirvana. It's like samadhi. It's like the rebirth. It's like, to me it feels like, you know, being newborn. That's how innocent it feels. When you are finally choosing this obedience and live the right way, you feel safe, you feel clean, you feel protected, you feel strong, you feel empowered. You have so much trust in God and faith that you no longer focus so strongly on becoming this master manifester and constantly controlling your thoughts just so you can attract the one thing that you want. You have so much faith that things and the blessings are coming to you very easily and very naturally. And yes, in this obedience you will be tested. You know, the old choices, the old ways of being will be tested, but it is so worth of going through those tests, because at the end is this childlike innocence, is this unity with God, is the self-realization that you are this, that you always have been one with God, that you never left home, and this is exactly where you can stay, and this is exactly what you can then teach your children, so they don't have to go through those struggles, so they don't have to fear, so they don't have to feel that they are alone in any kind of circumstances that they may experience in later life. You know, teaching our children about the relationship with God. I'm not even speaking about becoming religious, going to the church, because I'm not religious at all. I'm simply speaking here about God, God that is one with all of us regardless of the belief system. That's what you can, this is the greatest gift you can give to your children, to teach them that they are always safe, to teach them that they always have God they can rely on, they can depend on, that they don't need to become dependent on anyone or anything, especially substances and things like that. Our children are in such a great danger when it comes to programming their minds. You know, the level of, you know, different kinds of technologies that is being, you know, imposed onto them and given to them almost freely. It's a very dangerous weapon for their little minds and programming of those minds. And my son, who is now 11, is going to be 12 in 2 weeks. He had a beautiful, profound experience with Yeshua, with Jesus, not such a long time ago. And we've been practicing prayer since he was little. Then we stopped. We stopped basically because I disconnected. And then I didn't want to pressure him, push him into anything. But I was always talking about God. In our home, I always speak about God. I actually often hear from my son, you always speak about God. You always have to speak about God. Is everything connected to God? And I actually said, yes, everything is connected to God. God is everything. And he was opposing, and I didn't want to push anything onto him, but instead I asked Yeshua, I said, Jay, can you please just work with Leon? I'm gonna leave your relationship to Leon, my son, in your hand. It's gonna have to be done between you two. I don't want to push him into it because I don't want him to resist it more. And what happened was that one night, as he was getting ready to sleep, I suddenly can hear him crying, and I thought something happened. So I went to him and I asked, what happened? What happened? Are you okay? And he was crying, sitting on his bed, saying, I just seen Jesus through the window. He showed himself to me, and the tears that were falling from his little, it was streaming on his little face from his eyes, they weren't tears of joy, they weren't tears of fear, they weren't tears of sadness. You know, they were the tears of remembrance. They were the tears when a child remembers that essence, this spirit, this little spirit inside. And he was so happy after that, and so at peace, so at peace. And I think this is also the way of doing it, really, when we don't know how to engage our children with God. Apart from, you know, doing the prayer, having the prayer as something that is very natural in our home, what we can also do, we can simply ask Yeshua to to somehow, work on this relationship, because they all have their own timing as well, right? In building that relationship with God. So this is something definitely in today's times we should focus on. We should really focus on when it comes to our own relationship to God, and when it comes to our children's lives, and also the prayer, as I said. And I have to be very honest, I didn't pray for a very long time. And again, I would teach for years about spiritual. I would preach spiritual teachings. I would preach about Jesus, Yeshua. I would bring forth messages that I was receiving from the Spirit. Yes, I wasn't praying, and that was coming deeply from my ego. It was coming from the lack of the obedience. It was coming from some form of ego, again, a spiritual ego. I am now so spiritually evolved and aware. I have so much wisdom that I don't need to pray, and that became a massive BS in my life when I got this wake-up call. When I start to also experience so many spiritual attacks, that I had to go on my knees. I literally had to go on my knees. And to pray to God doesn't mean that we need to sit with the Bible, although it's nice if you would like to use the Bible and make the prayer very special, just so you honor God, the main creator. If you want to honor Jesus himself, to make it very special, to make it very honorable, make it special. Create a little space in your room, create a space in your home, or create a routine and a timing, and speak in your own words. Be that honest child that goes to him and speak in your own words. And again, the prayer is such a profound moment when you are actually connecting to the most and only relationship in your life, is the relationship to your creator. If we honestly look around ourselves, we are the extension of the source. We are the extension of God. As Jesus, we all have the capability to embody the Christ consciousness. But that takes guts, and that takes work, and that takes commitment, and that takes obedience and humility and strength and power, and really owning this path, owning yourself on this path as well, because there will be many forces trying to push you off that path, and you really need to stay in a continuum and in a commitment and in honesty. If you will choose to do that, you will be truly freed of any form of fears. You will realize, it's like Jesus is teaching us, fear is an illusion. Fear not, fear not. Fear does not exist. But to know it and then experience that these are two different things, and to be able to experience that, you need to really start awakening to which relationship is truly important in your life, what kind of relationship you need to truly cultivate and honor and work on in your life. Because I guarantee you that once you will start working on your relationship to God, the relationship to you, and the relationship to all the other versions of you, your children, your partner, your friends, will improve instantaneously as well. So this is what I wanted to share with you today. Obedience and the prayer. Sit with it for a moment. Ask yourself whether you are being obedient to your ego desires, or if you are being obedient to your to God's will. And as I said, when I'm saying, you need to start listening to God, what God wants from you, you don't need to be a channeler, you don't need to be a psychic, you don't need to be God knows how well advanced when it comes to receiving those messages from the veil, because God knows you the best, and God will know how to deliver those messages to you. God knows how to connect through your heart, how to guide you, and it do exactly just that. All you need to do is to make that choice, is to make that commitment. If you would like to have a 30 minutes long channeled session, donation-based channeled session with Yeshua, I'm gonna leave the link in the description below. You can book it. There is no set price on it. You can book it's a donation-based session, as I said, and you can receive your guidance directly from Yeshua during that online setting. I am sending you a lot of love. Have a beautiful day. Bye bye.